Hi Sagittarius, this is going to be your art channeled message. I channel messages through art, creativity, or all that good stuff in between. I really hope my messages inspire you to see the art within yourself, within your journey, and within everything around you, because we all start from zero, which is just a blank canvas. Everything is art, including yourself, and how you're slowly improving each and every day. Kind of like a canvas, kind of like art. If you like a personal reading, all that is down below. And lastly, you can get anything here. So you can binge watch my videos, watch if they're suggested, because they're timeless. You can apply them in any way you would please. And what's special about my messages or my art is sometimes it's not so structured or in your face. It's like, what am I trying to say without actually saying it? That's the reason I describe them to you, at least for these, so you can sort of see it yourself. It's like, how do the cards reflect what I said? Where's the confirmation? What do you see? How is it coming together? That's bothering me. Anyways, what I started drawing for you were blood drops. It's depicted in a way where it looks very slimy, or as if it's coming off of a knife or a wound. I'm literally hearing, don't prolong your suffering. When you're bleeding heavily, you typically want it to clot as soon as possible. Losing too much blood, aka reopening the wound or prolonging it, can lead to death. The death of you. I'm getting, you are literally prolonging pain. You're losing so much blood, which tells me this is rather large. This is a big deal. Let's see. Not sure where my art will take us. It's kind of a weird thing to say, but before I start, strong emphasis on reopening a wound, aka something never seems to heal. 1 minute you're fine, the next you're having flashbacks or breaking down. I'm seeing that in two ways. One way is it's like you think you're healed from something. It's kind of like thinking of this is the way it was coming to me. When you think of a past loved one, you're like, you feel like you finally came to terms with their death. Maybe that's why I said death as well. But then there's moments where you think of something and just burst into tears. That's an example of this. But I was also seeing it as something being done to regress or put salt on a wound. It's like that hurts. So either one. On one side, it could be flashbacks, or something is being done to you, or you're doing something to yourself that you don't know is harming you or harming your healing. I've been hearing triggers. Triggers are coming up. You find yourself becoming extremely triggered lately, more than you usually are, or it's bringing up something from the past. And you feel yourself sort of regress, is the word I'm looking for. This is where things get really weird, but kind of interesting. I started associating my drawing. I forgot about that major blood moon coming up. It's one of those things where you're going to be able to look at the sky and see a red moon. It's kind of like that expectation thing, and I said in one of my intuitive photography videos. So blood moon doesn't literally mean the moon is bleeding. It's just supposed to symbolize the color red. And moons also allude to what? Cycles. It's like something keeps reopening, or a cycle's being prolonged and you don't know it. But it's time to heal it or clot it. And there's something here too about like sight or senses. It's like red. It symbolizes the color red. It doesn't mean it's actually bleeding. So it's almost like you don't associate it with pain because you can't tell. Does that make sense? Like, There's something weird. There's a weird correlation between this blood moon and my drawing. But it's not an actual bloody moon. So something about it is like not easy to spot. It's like you don't know you're hurting yourself, or you don't know you're being triggered. You don't know where it's coming from. It's kind of like you sense it. Things can even trigger you subconsciously. It's kind of like a signal you're picking up on. Let's see. This is weird. I felt drawn to use this deck because it's so many different colors, and I was thinking maybe. Let's see. It's like bleeding to death. Something is opened or something never healed, and it's like you're losing too much blood, but you don't see it as that because the blood moon isn't actually bleeding. That's trippy. I didn't really correlate that until I saw posts on it. Whoa, jeez. We have prayer. When life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. Also, I'm literally getting that salt on a wound feeling, because you know when you when you squeeze lemons and it gets into like a cut or like some dead skin on your finger and it really hurts? It's like something stings. But stinging also can symbolize healing. Like when you put like an astringent on your skin, it's meant to heal, but it's gonna freaking hurt and sting. That's what this is. It's kind of like prayer, how it banishes maybe dark energies, or it promotes healing. People like to think there's a higher power to count on. It makes the healing process easier, even when they feel like they can't count on anybody. So there's that. I think prayer is very important right now. Maybe even like this aspect of like begging for mercy. It's like kind of like please heal me. It reminds me of maybe someone that's on their deathbed, which is very ironic considering what I said in the beginning. It's like someone praying for healing. It's like, please heal me. Please let them pull through. It's like someone on life support. It's like, please let them be okay. It reminds me of that. Even getting like something about tears, letting it all out, that's healing. But I'm also getting something of like literally crying or something very merciful to like a higher energy. It's like that's when you know you have maybe reached your breaking point. The Empress. Okay. For some of you, as soon as the Empress came out, I'm getting this as some type of figure that you have a wound from. Kind of like childhood wounds, parental wounds. And then with the Six of Wands there, I'm kind of seeing this as like looking for attention in the wrong places. Kind of like how people look for external validation, thinking it's going to make them heal, but it's like putting a band-aid on that open, gushing wound. That's not going to do anything. You're just masking it for the time being. You're making it look pretty. It's like the color red on the moon. That's pretty, but it's not painful. It's like something about appearance you can't tell. Looks are deceiving. But then here, this is someone actively working through their triggers rather than masking it. I've even seen this too as like, everything's fine. Let's pretend everything's okay. No. There's a need to like be honest. It's like, I want this. I'm at my breaking point. I'm not sure what else there is to do. But like pray or kind of like beg for mercy is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing this too as kind of like surgical. Something finally being closed or fixed. well, with healing, nothing ever truly goes away, because I compared it to like a death in the beginning. It's like sometimes you think you're okay with it, you move on, but you never forget. You work through it, but it doesn't mean you're not going to have triggers here and there. So I think that's the bigger picture. It's like allow yourself to have triggers, allow yourself to have like step ups or slip ups, because there's going to be moments where you literally burst into tears. Where's that card? The Ace of Cups was right there. One minute you're fine, one minute you accept they're gone, or one minute you accept this happened, and the next minute you're like, I cannot deal. I don't want to do anything. Or you're regressing and you don't know it either. Okay. I'm going to get a Bob Ross card to wrap up this reading. We have King. Trees cover up a multitude of sins. Oh my god. I'm seeing trees here is symbolic of like a band-aid. Band-aids cover up a multitude of sins, aka wounds. And wounded people commit a lot of sins, or they do things when they're operating out of a hurt place. This is really beautiful, actually. I'm even getting something here about being compassionate with people. It's like you're literally going to, as a part of your healing, you're going to be compassionate with those that have hurt you, because you're looking at, okay, you're starting to look at it from your own point of view. It's like, I'm hurt and they probably were hurt too, which is common sense. You can't just cover up the wound. You have to heal it head on. And oftentimes that's painful, very temporarily, kind of like an astringent on your skin, but eventually that passes and you speed up the recovery process. It's like, would you rather have temporary discomfort or long-term discomfort or death? Metaphorically, of course. I'm even getting literal wounds, actually, now that I think of it. Make sure you're healing properly, physically and mentally. This is very weird. Trees cover up a multitude of sins. Wow. I'm even getting, like, literally, how are you currently covering up a wound or reopening it several times? It's like this damage or like deep pain. Wow. Okay, Sagittarius, that's the end of this art channeled message. Please like, subscribe, support the channel in any way you can. I would really, really, really appreciate it. And yeah, remember, there's the overall art and the underlying stuff. This was kind of a quick message, but I felt guided not to complicate it too much. Only like 3 cards and a few of those, but I think you kind of sort of get my drift here. Not here about blood moon, literally and figuratively. So it's like, how can you promote healing in your life right now? How can you work through these triggers rather than avoid them? It's kind of like you're going to be given the chance to face something head on, or maybe even a person. Okay. Bye. Okay, Sagittarius, just finished your reading, and this always happens where it's like a conclusion or additional art themes sort of reveal themselves, and I felt called to go back to the Empress, 6 of Wands, and 8 of Pentacles. I'm seeing the Empress as some type of plastic surgery or surgical, kind of like metaphorically said, this is like a surgical procedure, or like working through something, working through a wound. To me, it's like if you're considering plastic surgery or you're considering changing a part of yourself, there's a need for you to see why. Like, where is that coming from? What's the real reason you want it? I'm also seeing this too, as well as knowing the risks of a procedure or surgery before you follow through with it. It's like educate yourself. I'm also getting something here about something being popular. It's kind of like, reminds me of BBL, which is like actually very dangerous to get, but because all people are thinking of is this, they often disregard their health or the wounds that could follow from it. So I'm seeing that as well. It's like, make sure you have a good surgeon, make sure they know what they're doing. Like this person, like this craftsman does as well with his pentacles. It's like he's very strategic. He's very, has an eye for detail. He cares about the human body. Okay. So metaphorical wounds, but also literal surgeries. Or considering it. It's all a matter of why, though. Okay, Sagittarius. That's the end of this art channeled message. Bye.